All right, well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for tuning in today to Lions Talk Live Morning Show Edition. Here we are, 2 days away from the big game, the game that could potentially forever change and cement the new direction of the Detroit Lions. Not the same old Lions, but the brand new Lions. That's right, the team that comes out and wins multiple playoff games at home, hosting games. And now just a game away, 60 minutes away from potentially being in the Super Bowl. And you know what? What a brand new time this is for Lions fans. Not talking about the draft, any trades in the offseason, things of that sort. Now, with it, that all being said, we know there's a lot riding on this game, and so do the players, the coaches, etc. Everybody is acutely aware of this. So that being said, I think we should all expect Frank the Tank Ragnow to, yes, indeed, play Sunday. I get they rested him again yesterday. They're doing everything they can to allow his body to heal. He's got back injuries, toe injuries, knee injuries, hip injuries. The dude is beat up. Without question, if this wasn't the playoffs, he probably would be sitting out, but I'm fully expecting him to play. Now, with that also being said, I'm sure a lot of you listened to Dan Campbell's presser yesterday. I think we all kind of got from him, and then later on with Aaron Glenn, James Houston appears to be pretty close. How close? Well, we've speculated all week long and even last week with when James Houston would return to the actual playing field for the Detroit Lions. We know he's been activated. We know he's part of the roster, etc. But you know what? Aaron Glenn said he thinks he's pretty dang close. He practiced full go all last week, was not activated game day. Will he be activated this Sunday? Your guess is as good as mine, but I'm leaning more and more from just listening to people talk, listening to what's being said and what's not being said, to think that this could be the debut for this for I guess the postseason for James Houston, or his return this season, however you want to word it. The other thing you probably saw from the thumbnail, there are 2 head coaching spots left vacant in the NFL after a couple of different hires. I do believe more and more that Ben Johnson, if I had to put a percentage on it, I'd probably say 90% is heading to the Washington Commanders at the conclusion of our season. Now, I'm probably like a lot of you guys. If something comes out today and, hey, the Commanders hire so-and-so, then I'm probably breathing a sigh of relief, because that probably means we're going to retain both coordinators next year. Obviously, that's for selfish reasons. Ben Johnson may have other desires. He may be wishing to be a head coach. But anyways, there's a real quick breakdown of things going into today's video. Real quick, before we get into the rest of the video, though, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're about 60 subs away from 5,800. Would really love it if we could make that by Sunday's kickoff. So if you're willing to do it, please hit that button. Also, while you're watching the video, don't be afraid to leave the thumbs up button. One last thing, just because I have bills to pay like the rest of the world, if you're looking to buy or sell property in the state of Michigan, give me a call or shoot me a text. It could be Upper Peninsula, Lower Peninsula, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Sturgis, Michigan, St. Joe, Niles, wherever it is. You get the gist. Anywhere throughout the state of Michigan, give me a call, shoot me a text. Let me see if I can use over 30 years in the industry to your behest, save you some money, make the process a whole lot easier, whether you're buying or selling property. 269-998-2384. All right, now that all that is out of the way, let's go ahead and see what you guys got to say. All right, let me scroll back to the top. JDC, good morning, all. Good morning to you, too. Trump, first. Well, almost, man. Looks like you're off by just a couple seconds if I see the timers right on this. All right, Jason, greetings and salutations. I believe rattling Purdy is a major key to forcing turnovers, which may determine our victory. I think you're spot on. I think there's a lot of things like we've talked about all week long. Brock Purdy is a pretty good quarterback. Brock Purdy is also a quarterback with some limitations. So he is a younger quarterback as well, not as experienced as some others. So I would say this, the more you can rattle him, sort of like Green Bay did last week, and he showed nerves coming into the game, which you would expect from a younger, less experienced player. Heck, I expect it from all players. But I will say this, if you can get to him early and get an error or two out of him, or the Lions take a lead and then get a 3-and-out or something of that sort from the 49ers, where you just keep the pressure on him, never allow him to emotionally release some of that duress, then yeah, I think you're starting to set him up for a few turnovers, and those turnovers will play major benefits in this game. All right, Michael. Howdy, Dan, Lions faithful. Happy Friday, all. Praying for a gritty Lions victory, 27-26. Michael, good morning to you, too. And I'm going to say this, man. I don't care how we win. Just win. 1 point, half a point. I don't care what it is. Just get to that Super Bowl. I'll even go so far to say this. Even though I know I predicted us to win, I predicted us to get in the Super Bowl and all that stuff, I'm going to say this. We get to the Super Bowl, I don't even care if we win. I mean, obviously, I hope we do. But I'm just going to sit back, relax. Man, I'm just going to enjoy the show. If they win by 100, I'm okay. If they lose, I'll live with it because you know what? We made the Super Bowl. And I know maybe I need to raise my expectations. But, hey, that's all I'm going to say. I just want to see us in it. Robert greets and salutations from sunny Florida. How sunny and how warm is it in Florida today, Robert? Let me know. Trump, Houston, we have liftoff. I'm hoping so, man. And I think there's a real possibility he will be out on the field. And I don't think he's going to totally alter the game by himself. But I will say this. If he's anywhere near what he was last year, it's just another weapon to get to the quarterback. And he might end up making 1 or 2 plays that affect the game. Robert G, good morning. Dan and crew, good morning to you too, Robert. Have a good one. The smoke. Thank God it's Friday. Well, thank God it is, man. And yeah, I'm glad there's a game tonight. You know, for me to coach just helps speed up the process. Tomorrow, I did everything I could, man, to make sure tomorrow is as full work-wise as possible, just to help make the time go by a little faster. Jason, what is your postseason Lions talk schedule? Daily shows? Question mark. If so, still an hour long. Yeah, I'm not really planning on changing anything. Obviously, there's going to be stuff to talk about with free agency, the draft, coaching changes, things of that sort. I know over the course of this particular season, a lot of people have asked if I could do like video breakdowns. The one thing I've really kind of struggled with is there's a lot of gray area I'm finding when it comes to putting video, say like doing a video breakdown of a game or whatever, tendencies in the legalities of that. And no offense to anyone, I just don't want to go to court or have somebody come after me because, I didn't do this, that, or the other thing. So since I can't get a straight answer, here's exactly what you got to do. I've just got to spend more time looking into it. I think it would be fun to do that kind of stuff with you guys. But yes, to answer your question, Jason, I'm still planning on doing it. Still, probably an hour. There might be days because of, work schedules or something like that, or coaching assignments that maybe I can only go 30 minutes or so, but still planning on doing the daily show. JDC, we will be, quote, moving and shaking. Go Lions. I like the way you're thinking, man. Yeah, keep it going. And you know what, man, can you imagine what it's like for Detroit today? I mean, the players, the coaches, they got to be feeling it just like us, right? They got to be getting just a little bit closer, a little bit more worked up to it. Their flight's going to take off tomorrow. I don't know the exact time. I don't think they want anybody to know, but my guess is probably around noon or 1 o'clock. That way you're landing roughly about that time in San Francisco. You got time to then check into your hotels. Everybody gets situated, do some quick positional coaches meetings and breakdowns with your coordinators and film rooms, get dinner, unwind a little bit, then really just try to keep people as, moving as possible so nobody really has time to sit. But yeah, great time for them and us. All right, Trump, Purdy will crumble under pressure. I think you're right. All right, Trump, he's gone for 2 picks and 1 fumble. Sold. I'll take it. Because you know what? Those turnovers, those would be massive, and they might lead to the difference in the game. The smoke. Purdy, birdie, Purdy, birdie. It sounds like something Grandma would say. Yeah, talking to the birds. There you go. Robert, just win. Yeah, 100%. Doesn't matter how you do it, man. Just go in there and get the mission accomplished. JDC, gotta love tech. And watching old NFL clips from the 70s. Yeah. And, places like YouTube and other video outlets, they've changed everything. The fact that you can go back and watch games from whenever, basically at any time. Yeah, you can relive those moments. Trump's 27-20 Lions taking it. All right. Jerome, hey, coach, have you ever heard of a running back taking up ballet classes? Yeah. Michael Jordan took ballet class, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of people do it just to work on certain different particular muscle groups, but also, your coordination, your balance, things of that sort. So it would make total sense to me, players doing that just for those reasons. Using muscles you normally don't target in an effort to not only protect yourself from injury, but also further strengthen and enhance you're all already God-given natural ability. So makes total sense to me. Trump, Ricky Williams. Yeah, I don't remember if he did or didn't. I remember Jordan did. And I'm sure there's been other athletes who have as well. All right, Drum. Hey, coach, what is a illegal shift, and is that a coach's mistake? It's you break it down. You got to go through a bit, but basically you get too many people in motion at the same time once they've been set, and now they move in concurrence together. It can be a coaching mistake or a player mistake. But at the end of the day, if a player's making a mistake like that, to me, that's a reflection of the coaching. I mean, not that a player can't make an independent decision that's a mistake, but ultimately, at the end of the day, all the blame should go to the coaches because you got to teach them up. You got to make sure they try to not make those errors. Moonscar, JMO gives me a Ricky Williams vibe. Okay, Moonscar, how so? Let me know and let us all know. So let me know as far as maybe his personality. Is that what you're saying? I could see that somewhat. Yeah. Robert G, you will have to take Frank off on a stretcher. That's the only way he's coming off that game. Yeah, I would agree. He's just wired a certain way. He takes a lot of pride in his performance and his abilities. So yeah, he's the only way he's coming out, like you're saying, is if you drag him out. So I get it, and I would agree. Southwest Line, good morning, all. If Green Bay can run for 136 yards on the 49ers, Lions should be able to run for 180. There's probably a lot of truth to that. I just hate comparing things because what one team does really ultimately should not be a foregone conclusion that somebody else can do it. The 49ers may make some adjustments, but I will say this to you, Southwest Line, I'm 100% behind you. I think we can run it on them, and I like the way you're thinking. I think we could potentially put up some numbers there. And if nothing else, you're going to force the 49ers to really overcommit to stopping the run, and that should open up the pass. Jason, yeah, great points. Yeah, I would agree. He's onto something there. All right, Lions fan number one. Greetings, salutations, all. I don't see a way whereas Ragnow doesn't play. Houston hopefully can go and impact the game. Yeah, and that'll be the big thing. The coaching staff's probably only going to put him on the active roster Sunday if they feel that he is clearly better than option B or A or whatever you want to say, that he's going to be the better player out there. So we'll have to see. The other part is, if they take somebody down, is that person a special teams player? Because I got to imagine they do not want James Houston playing special teams at this point with that leg still healing. Moonscar, good morning, Duke crew. Lions will find a way. I think you are right. I think they will get out there and they will get this job done. All will be revealed in basically 2 days. Jason, JMO is just getting started. I would agree. He's getting, every week he's getting better and better. Gibbs, well, him too. He's also, I think at this point, if you had to pick and ask most fans who's the best running back in Detroit, they're probably going to lean towards Gibbs. No disrespect for David Montgomery. He's a phenomenal player, but Gibbs is just rare. And his home run ability alone should put fear in most teams. Sort of like McCaffrey. The fact that if that dude gets in the open field, you've got a major issue. Just because they can break away and they can take it to the house so easily. So yeah, I like the way you're thinking on both guys. All right, Jerome. Hey, coach. Before a big game, if you found out a key player family was hurt and they didn't know, would you tell them? I'd leave that up to the family. If the family told me, hey, don't tell so and so until after the game, then I would go with that. Usually, families, if you're talking about God forbid, but say person A on the family got in a car accident, it probably wasn't life serious where hey, they got to get here now to say final goodbyes or something like that. The family may say something like, hey, after the game, let them know, but so-and-so is okay. We want, him to focus on the game. I'd probably go with that at the family's behest or request. Drake, good morning, all. 2 days away, exclamation points. Lions 27-20. I'll take it. Trump, hope Houston is 100%. They won't know what happened. Yeah, you get him going. You get old school Houston out there doing his thing out there on obvious passing downs. Yeah, that'd be a huge plus. The Smoke, Gibbs, 200 yards versus San Francisco. Let's go. Man, he gets 200 yards. Yeah, I think he's cementing himself as probably a steal at the number 12 pick. So I like the way you're thinking. I hope it happens. Moonscar, I'm predicting Lions win 24-21. All right, I'll take that. And it sounds like most people have it a pretty close game, one way or the other. And I don't worry about the points covering thing. I let other people worry about that stuff. But I will say this, I think the Lions can do this. I think, as MCDC likes to say, we're built for this. But in reality, we are. The running game travels, indoor, outdoor. It doesn't matter the weather. That offensive line travels. The defensive line, the ability to stop the run, travels. So there's a lot of good things that will affect this game that the Lions have been conditioned and constructed for. So I agree with you guys with your score predictions. I think it's going to be a close game. You guys have heard my prediction. I think it's coming down to literally the final drive of the for the Lions in, was that what I say, like the last minute and 30 seconds. Lions going to score on a crossing pattern to a tight end over the into the end zone. So yeah, and then you get the game-winning score, and then the Lions D's got to go out there for about a minute and 15 seconds to get a stop. So let's see how accurate the towel of destiny is, but that's my prediction, and it seems to be in line with most of your guys's. Don, what do you got? Moonscar Blade, I'll go 28-24 Detroit. Again, another close score. All right, Jerome, what do you got? Hey, Coach, in your view, what makes a smart player? Quote, question mark. Shouldn't all your players be smart? There's just different levels of it, just like there is in any other profession, or I guess you could say in humanity. Everybody's intelligent. It's just some people think better in stressful situations. Some people can think, a couple plays ahead. Hey, if I plant my foot here and get the defender to go there, I can cut back there and they'll be wide open. Some people do that instinctively, where other people really have to process that stuff. So there's all sorts of different smart, and it just really comes down to the situation of the player and what kind of situation they're presented with. Southwest Lions scored 3 touchdowns in the second half against Tampa Bay. They did. That was some pretty good stuff. By being multidimensional, they were completing passes to Montgomery and Gibbs in the middle of the field off play action pass. They were, and I know I'm hoping they'll do more of that. I think they should do more of that. And the way, the way the San Francisco 49ers linebackers like to drop, it would be there. Part of what I believe, at least Southwest, was so advantageous for our offense against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense in the second half is you could see Todd Bowles was trying to give the look of blitzing, but they never did blitz. And we've talked about it throughout this week, where you could see their linebackers were basically in dead sprints to try to get 8 to 15 feet in depth, trying to take away that middle of the field, which conversely opened up underneath routes to running backs, etc. Tampa Bay, the one thing I will give Detroit credit for, and I know we all say the same thing, and everybody in the national media says it, that you put pressure on Goff, he makes mistakes. But the opposite is also true, sort of, that if you blitz Goff, he roasts teams. He roasts them pretty bad. The few times, and for a team that likes to blitz as much as Tampa Bay, they only did blitz a few times. Why? Because Goff and Aaron Glenn, the offense, it's not just one person, they were roasting the blitz. They have all season, and they continued it against Tampa Bay. They put Tampa Bay in less comfortable situations. And I know that's something coach speak right there that I've always talked about on the show. Whatever you can do to force a team or a player to do something they're not accustomed to doing or don't like doing, you've got them at a huge disadvantage. That continues to Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay now kept showing the blitzes but could never blitz because we beat them so bad. And to your point, yeah, underneath passes to Gibbs and Montgomery, they kept throwing them there because those linebackers were in a no-win situation. I'm hoping for something similar against San Francisco this weekend, just because I believe San Francisco is going to have to blitz more than they're accustomed to in order to get consistent pressure on Goff. I don't believe their front four is going to be able to get enough pressure on their own. So that means you're going to force the 49er defense into doing stuff they don't typically like or enjoy doing, which, because it exposes their second half of their defense, which we've talked about on the show. I don't think it's vastly different than Detroit's, other than the linebackers I would say are better overall. So I've gone on too long about that, but you guys get the point. All right, Moonscar, I'm good with that too. All right, we'll go with that. Doug, what do you got? Greetings and salutations, Dan and Duke crew. And 31-27 Lions. Sold. I'll take it. Another Lions win and another close score. Don, greetings and salutations all. It's sounding more and more like Ben Johnson is heading to Washington. AG will be back with Detroit next year. Yeah, and I would agree with that. There's only a couple spots left open. Now that Hardball and a couple of the other teams have hired people. So I'll say this. If Ben Johnson's already been selected by the Washington Commanders, nobody's going to make an announcement until Detroit's season has come to a close. I mean, that would be just very disrespectful, and I believe against NFLPA rules to be able to do so, because the PA rules do extend to coaches in some degrees. So at any rate, if that does happen, there's only one spot left. The chances of Aaron Glenn getting it, it's not that it couldn't happen, but I would say it's probably not great at that point. So long story short, it does look like we'll have at least one of our coordinators back, but who knows? If Washington announces tomorrow that they're hiring someone and it's not Ben Johnson, then we probably got him. But on Monday, I am aware that a contingent of representation from the Washington Commanders are flying to Detroit to meet with Ben Johnson. So as soon as he's and the team are back from San Francisco, they're going to be landing and meeting with him. I would think that's a strong indication they're going to, if they haven't already, they're going to make an offer to Ben Johnson, and he's probably the next coach in Washington. So it's unfortunate, but I think we all expected that this was probably a reality going into the season, that we were going to potentially lose him and or Aaron Glenn. So wish them all well if it happens, but wish them well after this season's over. All right, Phil, good morning, question mark. How worried are you? How worried are the 49ers? I think they should be, because at least trying to be as non-biased as I can be when I watch the film, I think they're gettable. I think we hit a lot of their weaknesses and vice versa. I mean, they do hit a lot of our weaknesses. So the 49ers, I don't think would be looking over on the sideline going, yeah, this is going to be a cakewalk into the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a game. All right, Jerome, hey, Coach, did you ever a player not be intimate before a big game? It may slow you down. Man, you're talking old school boxing metaphors and such there. I've never really addressed it with players. I let them self-police in that regard. I just tell everybody, hey, be at your best, be ready for this game. Make sure you get the extra rest, extra fluids, extra proteins. You go through a list of stuff in the preseason, what to try to walk them through. Stuff like that, man, that's a great area to me. I don't address it really. Others, I'm sure, do. I know others have. It's just not one I get into. All right, Robert, when are they leaving for San Francisco? Does anyone know tomorrow? My anticipation is, I don't know if you saw this earlier, Robert, or not, but probably around noon or 1 o'clock, you're flying on out. So that would be my guess. Just greetings and salutations to you all. 49ers should be worried. We are coming on out to beat their butts down on their home field. Yeah, and I think everybody gets it. These two teams are physical. They're going to maul each other. They're going to beat each other up. They're going to go WWE if need be to get this win. Both teams are coming out there. You know what? It's going to be one heck of a game, and I think you see that reflective in everybody's score predictions. I mean, even if you look at the national media, I don't think anybody's calling for a blowout, at least that I've seen. I think most of them are calling for really like a 3 or 4 point game. There might be a few that you see that get up a little bit closer to like 5 or 6, but the vast majority, I think, are saying, yeah, this is going to be a real close game. 1 or 2 plays makes the difference. Michael, greetings and salutations, and do crew. It's Friday, just 2 more days. Go Lions. Woo! The first woo of the day is sounded. Anyways, yeah, you're right, man. Well, I guess it's not 48 hours, but we'll just say 2 days away. Yeah, you got us in the big game, the last game before the Super Bowl. And you know what, man, I'm going to be sitting there. I'm taking that entire day off other than Lions Talk Live, just sitting, marinating the moment. All right, Southwest Lions San Francisco is going to give it everything they have. They have been to the NFC Championship game 4 times in the last 5 years with no Super Bowl wins to show for it. It is, and I'm selfish as I may be, I hope that streak continues for San Francisco. I hope they make it to this game, which they did, and they lose this game, which hopefully they will. So let's make sure we do everything we can to make sure they're not in the Super Bowl. Zach Morris, good morning. Both teams are going to go hard. that's what should be expected from a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, everybody knows what they've got. Debo Samuel, no real big news yesterday. I know he went through some limited stuff on the sideline. Everybody says the same stuff. Hey, it's getting better. Hey, it hurts. Range of motion's limited. Just my anticipation, you're not going to know if he's going to play or not play until actives, inactive Sunday, just because it doesn't do the 49ers any bit of good to reveal if he's not going to be able to play, because the emotional effect it would have, I'm sure, on their team as well as our team. Yeah, they're going to play that as close to the vest as possible as long as they can. That is at least my anticipation. All right, just say K. Grease and salutations, Duke Crew. Back at you, buddy. Hopefully you're having a good one. Jerome, hey, Coach, I noticed a female on your coach staff director for sports science. Do you think she knows about male bodies? Yeah, I mean, if you're into sports science, yeah, you just like an athletic trainer or anybody basically in the sports field. If you're in the recovery process, you're definitely aware of just how the body works. So yeah, they'd be totally fine, male, female, or whatever it may be. They're going to be able to help anybody out. Southwest, limit McCaffrey and make Purdy uncomfortable. Yeah, do everything you can to make McCaffrey as non-big a factor for this game as possible. And that's going to be no small task. I think we all get it. Dude can run, he can catch, he's mobile, he's tough. I mean, he's a total package. That's why they gave up so much draft capital to go get him. And you know what? They're all in on it. I mean, they pushed all of them picks to the middle of the table and said, hey, we're going for it. Good for them. That's what they wanted to do. And you know what? McCaffrey's a heck of a player. Purdy, to your point, though, I think we all pretty much, it sounds like for the most part, agree. If you can put the weight of this game on his shoulders where he's got to throw it, 40, 45, 50 times in order to keep them going on drives or have a chance in this game, that's probably ultimately to our best interest to make that happen. Bootscar, hey, Coach, is the rule only one player can report as eligible, or can multiple tackles report? Just one can report, not just the center and both guards. Yeah, there's certain spots where you basically got to be a tackle / tight end. You got to be out on the outside of the tackle in order to be the eligible receiver. You can't have like a center report eligible, not unless they're lined up out there at least. But yeah, only one player can on a particular play. All right, Matthew, like I said, all right. What do you got? Greetings and salutations. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you too. Jason, I told my wife the Christmas tree is staying up as long as Lions keep winning. All right, looks like February 12th, thanks to the team of destiny. There we go. I like that about the Christmas tree. I lost my battle to keep the Christmas tree up here. I was informed that wasn't going to happen. Moonscar, Jason, keep that tree up. Yeah, keep it going, man. The fate of all the team, the fate of this season rides on your Christmas tree. The Christmas tree of destiny. There we go. The tree of destiny. That's probably better. Tree of destiny. All right. Morning, Coach. Were you ever guilty of playing favorites with the same players, work with them more, or as opposing to treating them all the same? No, I treat them all the same. I'm going to yell and scream at you. I'm going to get at you. I guess what you could say at this point, Mike, I'm an old school coach. I'm a loudmouth. I get after you. It doesn't mean I don't play pranks and jokes at times. I mean, you got to try to find a balance. But come game day, I tell every team I've ever coached, and whatever sport it is, it's game day. You're here for work. You want to play around, you do that other times, but not here, not now. So not everybody responds well to it. And I've definitely noticed over 30 some years of coaching, the stuff you used to do back in the 80s or 90s, not all of that is so much allowed anymore. So and that's part of coaching. You have to adjust to the kids you're working with, no matter if they're adults in, their 20s or 30s, or if they're teenagers. I mean, you've got to find ways to motivate different groups differently, because if the vast majority of your personalities on your team are, say, amicable personalities or driver personalities, alpha personalities, then you've got to coach them differently than if the vast majority were expressive personalities or whatever. Because part of your job as a coach is to get people to do things they don't normally want to do. You got to help them help themselves, and that's part of coaching. You find ways to achieve that. All right, Brent, good morning, coach and crew. Just win, baby. I like the way you're thinking. Steve, yes, exclamation point. Frank the Tank is the man. He is, man. He is a warrior. And again, I want to make sure I preface this so nobody comes back and says, well, you said this or that. I have no knowledge that he's going to play. I'm just saying I'm expecting him to play based on everything I'm kind of getting from the media, the national media, that is, and plus what I can tell out of the things being said out of Ford Field from MCDC or Frank Fraley or anybody, Ben Johnson. I'm inclined to believe that the Lions have rested him the last 2 days just to help him heal. I really doubt there's any way he's not going to play unless he's so hurt that he's now a deterrent or deterrence to the performance of the offensive line. I think that's the only way he would not play, or maybe just be a backup or something. But I'm going to guess he's going to be out there. I mean, he's gone through so much of the down times of this franchise. Could you imagine him or Decker getting to this point and being injured and saying, yeah, man, I can't play because of injury? I just don't see that happening with them. Offensive linemen, I mean, those dudes are wired a particular way just through the nature of the positions. I think they would gut it out any way you can. Man, you got to give me the shot of cortisone to get me through it. You got to give me 2 shots of it, whatever. I'm going to power my way through this game, knowing that I've got basically 2 weeks until I got physical contact again. All right, Phil, talk is over. Let's play the game. Yeah, it'd be great if we could do that today, wouldn't it, Phil? But unfortunately, it's not. Phil's got another, man, real nice new guitar, man. So go ahead and check it out. Brett, 2 sacks, each by Hutch and Iffy. All right, I'll go with that. All right. Yeah, that would be nice to get a couple more. Man, Hutch, let's give him a moment of consideration here. Think about what, halfway through the season, everybody was saying, he's kind of sophomore slump, whatever you want to say. Man, he's not all that. But the last month, including the playoffs, he's been on a tear. And I get he's gotten some gimme sacks or whatever, but still, man, he's been on a tear, whatever it is, 7 or 8 sacks the last 4 games. Kudos to him, man. Well deserved. Is that still you? Will Ben Johnson have a decent opening play this week? I'd be okay with flea flicker the first play of the game on offense. Something like that. Just catch the other team off guard. Air it out. Try to stretch that D. We've talked also, I know I've tried to do a little bit of brief breakdowns here and there on the 49ers offense and defense. I think they're going to play a zone coverage. I'm expecting somewhere close to 70-80% of the time. They are better at man than they have been from what I can tell the last few years, but you can tell they still do not enjoy playing it. It's going to be rare situations when they play man. To me, even though I get they're very good on defense, that's a plus for Detroit because Detroit, I think, struggles more with man-to-man defenses than they do zone defense. The difference here is going to be those 2 linebackers, in my opinion, roaming the middle of the field. I think they're going to do everything they can to take away the middle of the field from Jared Goff and Ben Johnson. They understand this is where the Lions do a ton of damage. And maybe I'm giving them too much credit for this, but I think they're going to spend all their resources saying, hey, you got to beat us deep and on the outs. If they do that, because the Bears and the Packers, the second time we played them, basically tried to do that, and it did have some effects on us until Ben Johnson and Jared Goff kind of, adjusted to it. And then they kind of forced teams out of that more and more. So we'll see what happens, but that's my real quick breakdown for you guys on what to expect out of the 49ers D. Hokey Doo, what do you got? Top of the morning, Coach and Do crew. Go Lions. Back at you, buddy, and hopefully you're having a great morning. Phil. Jack Fox is going to keep them inside their own 10-yard line. Yeah, dude's got a monster leg, and he is an absolute weapon, a stud. Max, looks like both coordinators staying. I hope you're right, man. I do. But at least as of yesterday, I know that Washington was sending out a contingency to come here Monday to talk to Ben Johnson. So who knows? We'll see what happens. I'm praying they both stay, but we'll see what happens. Hey, Coach, if players are drug tested for a big, can they sneak and use some illegal substances in the locker room to boost his chances for playing well? Usually teams test after the games, or leagues, I should say, test after the game. So you could do something, but if you're caught, obviously you're putting your career on the line. So it is possible, man. I'll tell you this, man. I don't care where you are at in the world, what league. If there's somebody getting paid money and the chance to make more money, you're going to find people cheating. It's unavoidable. Southwest, congrats to Brad Holmes. Where would the Lions be without Gibbs, Laporta, Branch, and Campbell? Yeah, a monster draft class this year. But also go back and now look, now that they've had a few years, look at all of his draft classes. I mean, that initial draft class, I think that most people would say, hey, St. Brown, Panay, hey, home runs. Some of the other guys were, but now some of those other guys have developed, like Barnes, like Iffy. And now that draft class looks off the charts. Same with last year's. This year's is just incredibly rare that you've gotten, 4 guys that have stepped up right out the gates. I mean, Campbell, you could say, okay, it took some time, but the vast majority of these rookies, I mean, they're stars. They're players. They're dudes. And that's why I do believe we should not make any judgments on Broderick Martin for a little while, and maybe even Hendon Hooker for a while, or Corby Scoresdale for a little bit, because they've shown some things here and there. But you'll also look at the first draft class Holmes had. Some of those guys took a year or two to develop, and that's ultimately what might happen to some of these other guys. If those guys do come around and become contributors, let alone impact players, then this draft class particularly, unlike all of them have been great, but this one would just be one of the all-time greatest draft classes in NFL history, my opinion. Moonscar, if we win the coin toss, should we take the ball or defend? Whew, that is a great question. If it's me, and it's not me, I'm taking the ball. Simple reason, I got faith in my offense. I'm going to say, hey, Ben Johnson, you've probably scripted, 12 to 23 plays to start this game. You go down, you get us a score. You put the 49ers and Brock Purdy having to come back. Because if we can stop them on that first drive, 3 and out, or just keep them from scoring, now we get the ball back. You've probably got another 5 to 8 scripted plays still. You go through those, and if we can get up 14-0, you start limiting, at least to a very small degree, the running game. You start putting a lot more mental duress on the 49ers, and more importantly, Brock Purdy, who showed signs of not playing great last week. And I do believe some of that was because of how well Green Bay came out of the gates. Not everybody responds to pressure well, and I'll say this to the day I die. All the years I've scouted, I will always use Randolph Keys as the example. Dude was Michael Jordan as long as the score was, say, 15 points, up or down for a team. You would have thought this cat was the greatest dude to ever touch a basketball in all of existence. That score started getting down to like 12 or 10 points under. You couldn't see anybody self-implode faster. Air balls, dribbling down the court, bouncing off his ankle and out of bounds. And it's just incredible how much the emotional component affected this dude. And, he's a rare example of how extreme it can get. But I will say this, I haven't watched Purdy a ton, but like I said, I've watched about 5 games this year, and I think you do see signs in him where if the 49ers get down, it starts impacting him. He could ultimately grow out of it, but I'd say this, just based on last week, he hasn't evolved beyond that yet. So I'd be doing everything I could to keep that emotional pressure on him. All right, Phil, looking forward to spring training, Dazan, spring training. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I don't know if I'll ever go to any of the spring training stuff, but, I'll probably at least report on it for sure. Keith, should Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn leave? Should the Lions promote from within or interview? That's a great question, man. If I'm going to guess, but I don't know, I'm going to guess MCDC would probably want to promote from within. Kelvin Shepard, I would say, would be in line for the defensive coordinator spot. It's just tough because, you guys have heard me talk about on the show. In my opinion, part of the reason we didn't win more early in the evolution of this team with this coaching regime front office is you did hire a bunch of guys that never done these spots before. And it does take time. Coaching is just like being a player. You got to take time to evolve. Some people are going to improve faster than others. I get that. But I would say this. It seems like the way Campbell's wired, he's a pretty loyal guy. and he's going to want to try to give every opportunity to somebody who's already here, a part of the family, to take those spots. Now, if somebody's just flat out, there's nobody in the room that anybody can point at and say, yeah, he's ready to ascend to that, then you probably got to interview outside. But that's a great question, Keith. And I think if it's me, I'm probably promoting from within just because that person's already been around. I suspect, but I don't know. I suspect that they've had one or two sub coaches to, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, following around, kind of bird dogging them, learning from them this year to help them take over if one of them leaves, or to replace them, I should say, not take over. But you get the gist. And yeah, I think that's where they'll go. Mr. Nico, I want the Super Bowl to be Chiefs versus Lions, first game of the season versus the last game of the season. Same results. Let's freaking go. One pride. You know what? And I get all the people are talking about Eminem versus Taylor Swift, all that type of stuff. We'll see what shakes out, man, but I'd be all for it. JDC, I'd like to nominate MCDC for the Motor City Dew Crew MCDC Award. All right, sold. We might, let's do that. Let's, when the season's over, get everybody involved with this. I'll post a bunch of awards for us all to vote on, and we can all be the staff that votes and elects the DC whatever Lions Talk Live Motor City Dew Awards and have our own award show. Let's make that happen. I think that'd be fun. Max, worst Lions coach ever? Oh boy. If you want my opinion, I can't remember his name. He was, gosh, I hate saying it because he was in the military, but he was a defensive line coach. We hired him. He wasn't around very long. I think he was right before Morningweg. And I know he had a long run after he left Detroit, going on to return to being a defensive line coach. I just can't remember his name. I just thought him and Marty Morningweg, I didn't think either one of them should have been anywhere near being a head coach. Just listening to them in interviews, watching their in-game adjustments. In no disrespect to those guys, if somebody offers you that job, you take it because you may never get that opportunity again. I don't think either one of them ever did get that opportunity again. But whew, you talk about guys, take the wind. Oh, my God. All right, moving on from that one. Good question, though, Mark. Good question. All right, Max. Southwest, it will hurt to lose Ben Johnson, but just because you lose the chef doesn't mean you lose the recipe. Lions have enough data compiled where they can maintain this style of offense. Yeah, and that's why I was saying earlier to Keith's question, my assumption is you've had one or two specific people that you were saying, hey, probably a good likelihood if you can spend this year underneath him, learning from him, that you'll replace him when the season concludes, if he does move on. Thanks, guys. Rod Marinelli. There you go. Rod Marinelli. Thanks for that. All right, Don, Southwest Line, how are you feeling about Sunday? Ooh, good question. Thank you for that one, Don. And Don, good morning to you too. Boo, yeah, good morning, Dew Crew. I'll be on Football with Friends watching the game. Come hell or high water, Lions can do this. I agree. Lions can do this. Well, let's get this done. Jason, what is this team made of when we commit a turnover or two, drop a pass, get down 10 while playing away? Grit mentality, step up, stick within the plan. Yeah, things aren't going your way. Not everybody can handle that situation. Not everybody can handle that moment. I think this team can, and we're going to find out a lot about them. Max, what do you got? Haven't heard much about Jack Campbell. How's he doing? I think he's improved a ton. I don't think he's a lead or anything. You could say Gibbs is an elite running back now in the NFL. I think he's ascended to that level. Brian Branch, I wouldn't call him elite. I call him real good. It doesn't mean he can't be elite. I just don't think he's there yet. Laporta, elite. You could even make the argument with Laporta, he might be the best tight end in the NFL. If he's not, he's in the consideration of the top, say 3 or 5. Gibbs, man, could you say he's top 3 or 5 right now? I guess you probably could. I guess you could say Jamari Gibbs is arguably a top 5 NFL running back at this point. So we get with those guys, they're up there. Branch, I don't know, man. I mean, he's not top 3 or 5 in my opinion as far as cornerbacks. He's somewhere between a cornerback and a safety. He's just a dang good player. And then Campbell, if I had to put a grade on him, like scale 1 to 10, he's probably like a 7.5, 7.5, something like that. So he doesn't hurt you. He's not just consistent enough where he helps you all the time. But I think he's going to get up to that upper echelon of middle linebackers. I do see the foundation and how he's improved this year. I think maybe by year 3, could be some conversation where he's borderline elite. All right, Southwest, Don Burr, I think the Lions have a puncher's chance. The key is not to let the moment be too big for them. So far, they've done well with handling the pressure. They have, 100%. I thought the biggest, you guys have heard me say it for a couple weeks now, I thought the biggest test for all the playoffs would be the first game against the Rams, just because of the mental components, the fact that Stafford's got a howitzer. He's got some real good receivers that he can throw it all over to. I thought that you get past that game, you've got a real good shot at the Super Bowl. Tampa Bay, hey, they did a lot of good things. They made that a tough game. We all expected it to be a tough game. And then you got this game. The big thing I like about the 49ers is basically their secondary is not strong, and Brock Purdy just does not have that arm strength, talent, whatever you want to say, that a Nick Mullins, Stafford, Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield can use to their advantage in our secondary to be able to rifle the ball, 20, 30, 40 yards down the field. If Purdy tries that, I think it's not really the San Francisco game plan, especially if Deebo Samuel's not in there. That's going to further exacerbate that situation. I think it means they're going to have to basically nickel and dime their way down the field. And the more plays you put forward on a drive, there's just mathematically more possibility or potential for a turnover, a holding penalty, a sack, something that just busts a drive. So we'll see what happens, though. All right, Ed, good morning, Coach Duke Crew. Lions 37, San Francisco question. All right, what's your – I don't care what the question mark stands for as long as it's less than 31. I'll go with that, Ed. Don, Southwest puncher's chance isn't a lot. Hey, puncher's chance means you land the right punch. You knock the other team out. So I'll go with it. Warno, we are so close. Let's go 100%. Let's get this done. We're here. Let's push it to the promised land. Southwest Lion, Don Burr, I expect San Francisco to play much better than they did against Green Bay. I'd love for the Lions give the Lions a 40-45% chance of winning. I'd take that, and I'd say that's fairly accurate, about a 45% chance. Max, how is San Francisco at third down conversions? To me, it comes down to they've got to be able to consistently get like third and short. So third and we'll say 5 or less. That I think suits up pretty well for their offense and Purdy. If it's consistently third and long, 8 or more, I think it starts to become a little bit more dicey for Purdy. Cancella, good morning. Lions family, go Lions. Lions will be at Ford sold out. I will be at the sold out Lions watch party at Ford Field on Sunday with you all. I know I almost went to it. I thought that'd be kind of fun. Just they were sold out by the time it came around, and I just didn't have the time in the day to be able to get everything done. Just because the team I coach, we've got a pretty big event or game next week, so I've got to spend a lot of time this weekend trying to get us ready for it. Ed, what do you got? It's almost game day. Woo! Lions will score the most points. All right, I'll go with that. The missed points. All right, we'll go with that. Don, sounds about right. We'll go with that. Eduardo, San Francisco struggles with 2 things: short yardage runs and the deep pass. We need to take advantage. I think we potentially could see a little bit of both. I think you're onto something there, Eduardo. Trump's lets the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the San Francisco bodies get pushed to the floor. All right, Eduardo, if we get to third and short or fourth and short, we will go for it. I think you are 100% correct. I think any fourth down, if it's a yard or less, I just see MCDC going for it, saying, man, we are going to do everything we potentially can to go for it. It'd be one thing if we were on our own 20-yard line, something like that, maybe not as much. But I've talked about it all week. Watch the punt formation for the San Francisco 49ers and their personnel. I think you will have a real strong potential to see something out of the Lions in that regards this week. All right, Ed, I'm thinking about watching the game. All right, watch it, man, and embrace it. Eduardo, Lions would be the ones to win by 7, not San Francisco. I concur. Robert, it seems strange to finally hear some negative press on the Lions. I just hope we can go in there and take care of business and shut them all up. What do you think? Damn. I think we're on a mission to go and do it. I think we've got the potential to do it. I think we've got the personnel to do it. I'm picking us to win. And yes, I am a homer, so take that with a grain of salt. I finally caught a live broadcast. Thanks for filling my mornings with Lions content. Very knowledgeable football guy right here. Glad you are on our side. Hey, anytime, man, Bronco. I enjoyed this. I enjoy being up every morning with you guys. So off season, I'm going to keep on doing it just because I enjoy it. Hopefully you guys do too. And glad you made the live broadcast, Bronco. Blue Skies Mass Killer. Okay, Lynn Swan did ballet and Emmett Smith. Yeah, I think a lot of people have done it. Earl, yeah, stay focused, man. Do not get distracted by the media or anything else. Jason, you have 2 weeks to get the Team of Destiny t-shirts ready for us starting Monday, Dan. I'm on it, man. I'll see what I can do, Jason. Get good dad, heart of a Lions fan, 100%. Keith, we're too close to the big dance, and CJ Gardner-Johnson needs to be quiet and be on his A game 100%. Yeah, I think a lot of what he says and does is to just get himself psyched up. But I'm also a fan of not giving the other team any kind of bulletin board material or give them any kind of fuel. Get good, Dad. This game is Jim Bob Johnson or to win or lose. All right, we'll go with that. Yeah, Brad. Yeah, okay. Don Kong, Super Bowl or bust. Woo! There we go. Don Kong, Super Bowl or bust. And again, I got to get that into the thumbnail. Bronco, hit Purdy hard a couple of times and knock him off his game. This is how we win. Hoping Hutch or Houston has a dominant performance. I hope they both do, man, and I'm with you. Get to Purdy frequently and repeatedly. Bronco, how effective do you think Houston will be able to catch up to speed and have a day on his first game back? I think you're probably seeing limited snaps out of him. Maybe just third and long situations, maybe some chance for second and long situations. It's going to probably be limited, but doesn't mean he can't do something with those limited snaps. Southwest, I hope they play Houston. If they do, please do not put him on special teams. Yeah, I don't think there'd be any chance of it, man. I've been wrong before, but that'd be my guess. Jeez, what do you got? When Dan Campbell says they'll be ready, I believe we will win 100%. I believe he's coming for it, and I couldn't agree more. He's going to have them absolutely ready to run through a wall and run through the 49ers. Bronco, I feel like Houston's limited snaps will be exclusively on defense. Hopefully, yeah, what snaps he gets, he's only going to be out on defense. I just don't see him putting them back on special teams this year. Answer 14, great salutations, Dan and Duke crew. Is this Lions team a team of destiny? ? They are creating it week after week. They're very fortunate to bear witness to this. We are very fortunate to bear witness to this. What they have done is bigger than the game. Yeah, it's changed everything with this franchise and it's revitalized this fan base. Good for them for that. JDC, Magic 8 Ball says Lions 21, Niners 17, sold. Southwest line, it's now or never. We need more snaps from Gibbs. He was used well in both the run and pass against Tampa. Hope we see more of the same Sunday. I think we will. William, Gardner-Johnson pick 6. Lions win by 10 points. I will take that, man. Both of those. Bronco, I've never seen people so happy around the state. We are from horribly nervous. We went from horribly nervous for the Rams game to confident we'll beat the 49ers. So much belief in this team. It's inspiring. It is, man. Keith with a walk-off home run here. 38-17 Lions minus injuries to keep players on both sides of the ball. Okay, I'll take that win, though, big time. Great Lakes State guy, good morning. I have to wonder what the point of activating Houston was at this point. ? Hopefully they surprise us this weekend he plays. Go Lions. Yeah, I got to imagine he's pretty dang close, and there's a real chance he plays this game. Brent, Goff's going back home for a short vacation, and while he's there, he'll drop about 400 yards on the Niners. Wow, that would be something. 34-31 Lions, taking it. Darren, this will either be a close Lions loss or a Lions blowout victory. Let's go with a blowout victory then in those two scenarios. Derek, hey, Coach, it looks like the only head coaching job left are Seattle and Washington. Do you think Ben Johnson lands one? Like I've been saying in the show here, and I don't know if you caught it or not, I am aware of Washington is sending a delegation out to Detroit Monday to meet with Ben Johnson. To me, the only way you're doing that is if you're going to sign him as your next head coach. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Ben Johnson stays, but that's as a selfish Lions fan. As a fellow coach, I would say this. Kudos to him, man. You get this opportunity. He kind of turned one down last year. Might have made the right call there, but I would say you probably can't do it 2 years in a row. He's probably got to take the Commander's job if they actually do present it to him, which, again, I'm guessing they're going to. Bronco. Either way, I'm so proud of this organization and players. We did it, guys. We are relevant. We are. Mile marker. Good morning, coach and crew. The fun starts soon. It does. We got 2 days to go, buddy. JDC, Chiefs or Ravens. I'm taking the Chiefs out of those two. Bronco, Taylor versus Eminem Super Bowl will be legendary. And again, I hope they do the old school death match, MTV death match, where they make claymations of the two, have them go at it. That'd be a great halftime show or pregame show. Phil, you blitz, someone is open. Play fast. Yeah, and I think that's why I don't suspect the 49ers will want to blitz like everybody else doesn't want to blitz Goff in this offense. I think the 49ers can be forced to do it, though, to get some pressure. Amar, yeah. Bronco, I like them both. Agreed. Gardner, are we there yet? Let's go Detroit. No, Revelation, we're about 2 days away, but we are getting close. Bronco, mile marker 301. Imagine the halftime show. It'd be something, wouldn't it? Phil, Lions by 10, 38-28. JDC, I'll take Bob Seger over Swift. There you go. Great Lakes, AG will be back. I don't think people see him ready to be a head coach yet. There could be some truth. Who knows? I feel for AG because I know he wants to be a head coach. Phil, Ted Nugent rocking the Star Spangled Banner. It could be, man. Southwest Lions need to keep wing. Just make sure you account for McCaffrey when doing it. Yeah, 100%. You got to keep him under wraps. Ben Johnson staying. I hope so, man. Keith, I think if it comes down to a game-winning field goal, shades of Eddie Murray, 43-yard missed 40 years ago, won't happen this time. We're Super Bowl bound. Go Lions. Yeah, and I still remember that missed kick, man. Anyways, Great Lakes. Anyone know how big free agent cornerbacks this offseason? I don't offhand, but I gotta imagine the Lions are going to be in play for some. JDC, Phil, a thumbs up. Okay. Jason Berry, do you think our team has gotten better over the season? I do. We have won 5 of our last 6 games. Some say 6 of 6, and seems to be ascending. They do. And you know what? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's been any point this season where we lost back-to-back games. That is incredibly rare for our team to go through in a season. Southwest meant to say Lions need to keep blitzing, just mix up the looks and pre and post snap. Yeah, I agree. They're going to want to keep after Purdy and not let him get comfortable. My marker, old wives now. Okay. Bronco, what are the odds that the year we break out is the same year there are like 8 open coaching jobs? I do believe in Dan Campbell that they will find a worthy replacement, but damn, I love Ben Johnson. Yeah, nobody wants to see him go, but it is what it is, man. I mean, opportunities knock. You got to take them when they come your way. All right, Great Lake. I hope they have cleaned up the field out there. Players were practically ice skating on that grass last week. Yeah, it probably helps that it's not raining as much as it did last week. So they'll do everything they can to keep the field as play agreeable or playing safe for both teams. Phil, coach used to say no girls, makes your legs weak. Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever done a study on it. Maybe they have. I don't police that. But yeah, I know that's what a lot of us grew up with. 9 drinks. This is going to come down to the refs, guaranteed. Man, I hope not, man. Who can do? I hope they have to have a helmet cam on Purdy's helmet. That way they can get some great shots of the California sky with Purdy flat on his back. There you go. Get him a GoPro. Phil, Jack Campbell is going to destroy the 49ers. Yeah, he'll be a factor for sure in the running game. All right, Triggerman T, we played them good, and 2021 when we was nothing, we will get a win, big game from JMO and Goff hometown. Yeah, you're not wrong. I was at that 49ers game at Ford Field, and what a second half comeback. I think we were down something like 21, came back to a single score, had a chance to go down and win it with basically little or no time left. But this is a different team now. To your point, Triggerman, we're so much better now. You think back even to when we played the Rams in the Super Bowl year for them. We played them pretty tough. I think this team's really evolved and improved. I get why most people are overlooking the Lions just because of the history of it all. But at the same time, I do believe we can come out and win. How good is Ikea? Real good in run blocking, not so great in pass protection. And I think therein lies the problem. So if the 49ers are only sending 4 every down, then that's probably going to actually be beneficial for Detroit, just because I think we all can agree our tackles are pretty stout. Frank Ragnow, Glasgow, pretty dang good in the middle. Okada, I think he could probably use a little help on blocking assignments on passing downs. See, Great Lakes. What you gonna do when the Lions mania comes for you, brother? Yeah, good old Hulk Hogan right there. And I really hope we drop elbows on the 49ers all game long. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the show here. It's just over an hour now, and I got some coaching stuff to do today. It's game day, plus I got work stuff to do, too. Hope you all have a great one. If there's some sort of breaking news later today, if I can get on the mic, I will. Otherwise, if you would, consider subscribing, trying to make a push to get to 5,800. We're about 60 subs away. And if you enjoyed today's video, hit the thumbs up button. Take care, be kind to each other, and we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. See you guys.